Yeah. Water Servant? Water
Well,
Servant?
one of the two. But yeah, I agree that Spite Bellows is the better pick here. It is already efficient removal for 3 mana. You just evoke it, it dies immediately, and then deals 6 damage to an opposing creature. Or if you are in the late game, you just put it down as a 6/1, and you can often line up a 2-for-1 trade.
Yep. There's some late cards. Oh, but no red cards. Maybe someone started dipping into red after seeing it was open so much. So
Yeah, this is surprising.
yeah, I wonder what he's going to take. Ulamux Crushers and oh yeah, of course he's going to take the foil card. takes the Ulamux Crusher there. I mean,
value.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
It was obvious, right?
And there wasn't much else in the booster for him anyway that he would be really interested in. And Ulamux Crusher is actually playable.
It's castable, yeah.
Yeah, well, 8 mana is a lot, but
there's
still.
a Goblin Firesling with another Burst Lightning. So okay, never mind. Red is open. That was just a fluke.
Yeah.
I think he could have had such a good mono red deck, like an incredible mono red deck, or like a nearly mono red deck with Ether Snipe and Moldrifter Splash. You know, with enabling Noblest of War easily, and having Hearthfire Goblin, and like double Goblin Firesling, and just being very aggressive.
Yeah, he passed those Fire Slingers early when he didn't have that many Bloodthirst creatures yet, but there's a Heartfire
Speaking of
Hobgoblin.
which,
that would work.
I think Rapid Flames could actually be even better, because he looks like he has a couple creatures and just killing some creatures make them unable to block.
Yeah, it would work well in an aggressive deck, but you know that Hearthfire Hobgoblin would work so well with all of the brute forces that he has.
He
and
is
all
too,
of the
yeah,
spells.
and Inner Flame Igniters as well.
He's also looking at Sphere of the Sun.
He's not even considering it.
For some mana fixing.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I guess he wants to splash both the Apocalypse Hydra as well as the Adder Snipe and Muldrifter, and wants to make sure that he is able to do that with some mana fixing.
The Gorhor Minotaur's Wield, the one he opened.
Wow.
Casually take the rare, wheel the card, the best card for your deck. It looks like he doesn't even want it. He's like at this point, like it's not that good.
Yeah, he doesn't have all that many ways to enable Bloodthirst. He has a reasonable amount, but
I would have such a sick mono red deck at this draft table. But yeah, I mean, sure, he has already quite a few Gorhor Minotaurs, and he elected not to take the Fire Slingers. So I mean, that is a fair point. Vengeful Rebirth.
Yeah, if he wants to splash green for the Apocalypse Hydra, might as well do it for Vengeful Rebirth as well. He has several high casting cost cards in his deck, so that could deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's taking it. Oh, is he? Yeah, he's
I mean, imagine you land cycle Fiery Fall early in the game, and then on turn 5 your opponent is still at 10 life, end of turn Burst Lightning you for 4, untap Vengeful Rebirth, deal 6 damage to you, returning the Fiery Fall. His deck will have a lot of reach.
He pointed to the telling time and picked the ley line. Well, obviously, he picks the ley line of second, as we come to expect from Albert Budisanjaya. Super late pillar of the Sleepless, so white-black also probably very underdrafted at the table. There was still also Ragdos Carnarium. He could have picked that up, even though
and
it's not really on color.
Raider, but he's actually not all that heavy in elementals. Even though there are plenty of elementals in the color combination blue-red, he hasn't been picking them super highly, so the Smoke Breader would be good, but perhaps not insane in his deck.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Elementals deck. However, he could have had a sweet triple Inner Flame Igniter, triple Smoke Breader, double Soulblight Flamekin, and some other Elementals to go with it. But I mean, he has a lot of good cards, like double Burst Lightning, Lightning Bolt, good creatures all around.
Yeah, a fairly low curve. I mean, he can easily overwhelm his opponents quickly if he gets the right draw. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to build the deck. Will he go monocolor or go for splashes? Given that he took the Sphere of the Suns, I fully expect him to go for a double splash. With Sphere of the Suns and also Fiery Fall to fix his mana. That would not be unreasonable, I don't think. And I do like that he has access to those multiple copies of Burst Lightning and Lightning Bolt, giving him so much reach. If he just goes a 2-drop into a 3-drop, attacks with a Slaughtermaster, Brute Force, Burst Lightning you, all of a sudden the opponent is dead, and they may not see it coming.
Yep.
Because typically this blue-red elemental deck is a bit slower, but his version is gonna be blazing fast. But indeed, this guy, as some of you in the Twitch chat are pointing out, is a legend. He makes the top 8 of one of the biggest Grand Prix in Japan all time, and you know, he doesn't just draft to make cards for his deck. He also rare drafts occasionally. So indeed, if he manages to win this one, He's not just going home with the first prize, but also with all these sweet cards he picks up.
Yeah, and what would be even cooler is if he got to top 8 by doing this kind of drafting style, because he already played 2 drafts today. So I mean, that was
value weekend.
Value weekend, yeah, for sure. And it was just really fun to see. Well, I mean, we made fun of it a little bit because it was
it is unusual.
It is unusual. However, I kind of think that he might know what he's doing. He picked up on the red signal, and figured, you know what? This is open. I'm gonna get all the cards regardless. Might as well pick up some rares because this stuff is gonna wheel. You see, like Gorhorn Minotaurs getting around a nice pick easily.
Yeah, it's true. This format is pretty deep, so you still get reasonable picks even late in the pack.
Yeah.
So if you waste a couple of cards on sometimes hate picking or trying to go into different colors, or as he did, picking some of the rare cards which have some value.
All right.
You might as well do that and still end up with a good deck. Maybe he's maximizing his expected value here in the top 8.
I mean, I wouldn't
might be some smart economic thinking going on there.
I wouldn't be at all surprised because it seemed like he was doing quite a few unorthodox picks, but I think he might have a plan. His plan is to smash. Anyway, let's have a look at the top 8 bracket. For those of you who missed the top 8 announcement, Albert Budisanjaya, who we just watched, is going to play against Junya Iyanaga, the 2011 world champion. And also joining him in the top 8 is Katsuhiro Mori on the other side of the bracket, who's facing off against Ichiro Matsubara. There's also Yuki Matsumoto facing off against Ryota Shimizu, and Kim Minsu facing off against Shogo Tsunada. But definitely an interesting top 8, including 2 world champions. As we go, just let's have the bracket for a couple minutes while we get Nate into the booth, who will help me guide our way through the second draft. So, 2 world champions, Iyanaga, Mori. I mean, Nate knows these guys in and out, and they're solid players. Have Katsuhiro Mori top 8 3 Pro Tours in 1 year. No, actually, that was Kenji Tsumura, but he top 8 3 worlds in a row. So in 3 consecutive years, if I'm not mistaken.
That is 100% correct. In fact, it was starting with the year. Hi, everybody. I finally made it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's starting with the year that Kenji Tsumura top 8 3 Pro Tours in the same season. It was kind of the emergence of that generation of Japanese Magic. And Mori went on to be the make his top 8. He actually was the world champion in 2005, wasn't he? And went from there to back-to-back top 8s after that as well.
06, 07 as well, yeah. Like how to one-up Kenji Tsumura top 3 Pro this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to top 8 worlds year after year, casually.
Just absolutely amazing. And he's been one of those guys, we haven't seen him. We've seen his name around. We haven't seen his name or seen him actually play at all this weekend. So he kind of snuck his way up on us until I think the last round you and I were looking at the standings. I'm like, Mori's in like 16th place, man. Like we should probably keep an eye on him here. And sure enough, he won his last round, made it into the top 8, and snuck in that 8th position. So. Yeah,
but we're going to talk about a different world champion, which is Junya Iyanaga. We featured him in round 1, building a seal deck build. He went 8-1 on day 1.
Yeah,
won 5-1 on day 2. And just easily got into the top 8 in 7th place. And with some solid drafting. 5-1 means he 3-0'd and 2-1'd. Just like it kind of shows that he knows what he's doing. And I think we have a draft ready of Junya Iyanaga, so we're going to watch that.
Perfect.
Let's go.
All right, howdy. Welcome to the other draft that we covered here in this top 8 of Grand Prix Chiba. I'm Nate Price alongside Matej Zadelka, and we are watching Junya Iyanaga, former world champion of Magic the Gathering, making a top 8 alongside another world champion, Katsuhiro Mori, here in the top 8. Iyanaga is looking through his pack. Is that a Progenitor Golem?
Precursor Golem?
Precursor Golem?
Yeah, it is. It's a great rare to pick up. 5 mana for 3 3/3s. And if your opponent doesn't have removal for a Golem, then it can take over the board very quickly. However, there's a Nameless Inversion and a Sunlance also in the pack. If Junya maybe had some sort of strong preference into a particular card combination, he could pick something else, but I think he's going to go for the rare here. And he's just noting what could wheel from that pack. Takes the Precursor Golem, 5 mana 3/3, comes to play, put 2 3/3 golems into play, and then if any golem gets targeted, that spell is copied.
There were a couple of cards in that pack capable of removing those precursor golems. I think the card he was noting to possibly come back to him was a repeal. We'll see if it actually works out that way when it comes back around. This pack right here, though, has a couple of options in it. If he's going to continue to go with the artifact theme, he has an opportunity to pick up Rusted Relic.
I mean, how to trigger Metalcraft, play a precursor golem.
Exactly.
3 artifacts all at once.
Does its job. But he's also scrolling through a couple of other cards here. The Waxman Baku, we saw do some serious work, actually, for Iyanaga earlier in the draft in a black-white spirits capacity.
Goes for it,
go with that.
I mean, I understand it's something of a preference. If you've been drafting something throughout the day, then you're more likely to end up in that archetype. And the good thing is, Precursor Golem goes into any deck, so you're not necessarily in a artifact team, which I think would have been quite risky going into artifacts with that. We motion it, but now there's an Aethercast Knight. But on the other hand, it's solid even outside of an artifact deck.
Yeah, definitely is going to be a pick that decides what direction he goes. Not a very strong pack by the looks of things, at least for directions that he's been considering going. The Aethercast Knight definitely signals a desire to go to blue-white, but he's looking at, I mean, if he wants to go with the black-white strategy, he's got a Dread Drone. Just goes ahead and takes the Aethercast Knight. That second pick, again, I mean, just like Precursor Golem goes into any deck. Like Waxman Baku, it's not best. It's not anywhere near as good as it is in a black-white deck, but it's not useless in an artifact deck as well.
Agreed. He puts out Glassdust Hulk and Nest Invader to the front, and I think that's kind of indicating of where he wants the draft to go. If he picks the Nest Invader, then he's basically thinking of maybe going a 3-color deck and doing something completely different, maybe trying to read the signals. But by taking a Glassdust Hulk, he would indicate going into blue-white artifacts.
Certainly. And the Nest Invader, there were a couple of green cards that I noticed going through the last couple packs. I think he might be latching onto a signal that green might be around. None of the particularly big chase cards, but
sure.
It's entirely possible he's looking at going possibly green-white and going for a big reach deck.
There's an Otherworldly Journey. Mox-Up could have been maybe interesting in a heavy artifact deck, even though it's quite risky. And you see Junya Iyanaga is waffling a little about it. Think about Devouring Greed, which would indicate he wants to go into White-Black Spirits again, which after picking that Nest Invader seems a little strange.
There's nothing quite wrong with taking a speculative pick early in this draft, considering it gives you an option. You're always going to end up with 25 to 30 playables in your deck. Decides to go with that Devouring Greed, which might be a greedy pick, but we'll see as we move on. Actually, it looks like he's rewarded with a Thief of Hope in the next pack.
Pretty late Thief of Hope, that's one of the main cards for this sort of archetype. But I'd be a little worried about going into black after he passes into especially black-white. After passing a pack with Sunlands and Nameless Inversion, two of the cards which are very good in that card combination. Goes for the Plague Rusalka.
It actually makes a little sense given the Nest Invader that he picked up previously. It gives him a little bit of flexibility to possibly go into black-white or go into black-green. Yeah.
This next pack, again, a little on the weaker side. You could go with a Sickle Ripper, Vines of Vastwood if he wants to stay with the green, but these packs are not cooperating very well, even though Junya Iyanaga is kind of jumping between. Jumping between picks. Now it's Hirashi's Grasp. Shurz probably wants to take a white card and wants to stay white.
Definitely try to lock that in, key into the people to his left. If that is exactly what he's going. It's a great sideboard card. In fact, we talked about it earlier. It's a card that is almost worthy of main decking.
Yep. So there's a Golgari Rot Farm. So if he wants to do several colors, I'd do like a 3-color deck. Then Sphere of the Suns and Golgari Rot Farm are great picks here. Also looking at the Bloodthrone Vampire, which could indicate that he's still considering the black-green maybe sacrifice deck. And remember, Bloodthrone Vampire, play Precursor Golem. You can immediately sacrifice them to get all the triggers.
Also,
he might get rewarded here with Necrogenesis. I think this is a clear signal that black-green is open, and going this way could actually have Junya Iyanaga have a very good black-green deck.
Certainly, and it is one of those color combinations that you mentioned earlier. A lot of people tend to not necessarily shy away from, but don't necessarily think it's as powerful as it has the potential to be should you get the cards together for it.
Yep. There's a late Goblin Fire Sling, a Celestial Purge. Could be done on the splash. You could also pick up a Waking Nightmare if you really wanted to. But it looks like he's going to go with some sort of 3-color deck, I think.
Definitely looks like that to me. There's a little bit of help for that. He may take the Death Mark as a good sideboard card. All right. As it looks right now, if he picks that death mark up, if he takes the cards that are expressly, generally relegated to the sideboard, he's looking at a deck that has about 6 to 7 cards main deck. Should he? Wow, that is a very late Dread
Super
Drone.
late, and I think that's even clearer of a signal.
Yeah.
4 cards in the pack and a Dread Drone gets by. I mean, it's not like a uber good card, but it has so much synergy in the black-green archetype.
Exactly. And a Turk Tongue Thallid
as well. Yeah, that's also not a good card in black-green.
It's a card I never thought that I'd be, super excited about. Wow, he got a late pick Turk Tongue Thallid, but this is the format.
And Death Denied as well.
Wow.
All these cards are making their way late. I mean, you usually don't want to play more than one, but especially in black-green, you can really make it. Sickle's Ripper is also a playable card at the end. Nice 2-drop. So I think he's going to discard. Yeah, there's okay. I'm not counting on that Ethercast Knight, but I hope Junya Iyanaga realized that the Devouring Grid, you only sacrifice spirits to it, because that could be a little painful if he thinks he can sacrifice any creatures. But it looks like he can dirtle his way into a black-green sacrifice deck. And
Dirtle, I don't know. Like, there were a few picks relatively early on where he speculated into this deck, with that Nest Invader in particular, and then it seemed like he got rewarded for correctly reading the table, putting himself in the right spot to go one of two directions, and then the door was just open to him. He could have gone either black-white or black-green. Looked like black-green was open. He moved in on it and was rewarded for it.
Yeah, but we're going to see if he's going to stick with it, though. That's the thing, because he has been changing his colors quite a bit. And I think it was a good move for him finding his way into black-green, because the artifacts dried up pretty fast.
Yeah, surprisingly, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of the archetypes we've actually seen going around a little bit in the drafts we've watched today. All right. So in this pack, we see a whole bunch of nothing.
I mean, if he really wanted to try something, he could pick the Culling Days. But he can maybe also try to wield that. Kabu Primarch, solid creature. Can power that up with thanks to Convoke pretty fast, and he's maybe hoping that he could wield the other Dread Drone.
Okay, yeah, get the Dread Drone after what he saw last time. There's also a couple of other cards. It's unlikely that they come back around, but some of those equipment, not too bad in the Black-Green Sacrifice deck, where you're going to have a lot of Eldrazi Drone and other guys that are not going to do much. Pick those things back up.
Sure, yeah, like a lot of tokens are going to be available,
certainly,
and he's probably going to go long game. But I think he wants to maximize the amount of creatures he has, while pairing them with as many efficient removal spells as possible.
Yep. Makes that deck work.
Speaking of there we go. Bone Splinters, which is the perfect card for such a deck. There's also Nest Invader, which Iyanaga seems to really like, because it fills out the curve very well. These decks sometimes have a problem of being a bit heavy-handed. So picking up another Nest Invader is great and gives you a lot of sacrifice fodder and accelerates you into more expensive cards.
Yeah, this pack has 4 or 5 cards that Iyanaga would be happy to slot into his deck right now. It's going to be very good for him when it comes back around.
Yeah, Golgari Rot Farm, Ghastly Change, stay in the pack. It can also do something. He goes with the Nest Invader, passing a Cytoplasm Rootkin as well.
Not to mention the Golgari Rot Farm that's sitting in the pack as well. Basic card and a half picked out of that pack.
Yeah,
overlooked a lot of times.
Remember, this is the second draft we were watching. We already saw Albert Budisanjaya and his interesting draft. This is interesting, double Rusted Relic in this pack. But there's also a Thief of Hope that he's thinking about picking, as well as I saw another Bone Splinter. So definitely something to think about. I would probably take the Bone Splinters here. I don't see that much of a future for Thief of Hope and what he's trying to do.
Yeah, not to mention, you said earlier that you really like in this deck to pair the efficient creatures with as much removal as you can get. I don't think he has any at this point.
Yeah, he has the one Bone Splinters, but goes with the Thief of Hope.
All right.
Maybe if he can pick up a couple more, maybe looking to pick up a Nameless Inversion as well.
Sure.
I mean, not at this point, but Plague Rusalka. Sweet. A Spirit as well, yeah. So, okay, here is one Plague Rusalka. Now with the Thief of Hope, it makes a little more sense.
Sure.
You can return this, and just the value you get out of returning something like Plague Rusalka, it's already pretty sweet.
The Plague Rusalka is one of those cards that's very innocuous on its surface. It's a 1/1 for 1. I mean, that simply alone isn't something that usually makes warrants into the deck. The sacrifice ability, a lot of times you're sacrificing a creature that's bigger than a 1/1. You're not necessarily trading off as well as you would in a normal format, but this is a format where you can build your deck to maximize the advantage provided by that ability.
Yeah, and there's a Grim Affliction. I think a pretty clear pick in this pack.
Agree completely.
Yeah, not much else happening there. He could pick up a Custodian if he wanted to improve his curve. I think he wants the removal spell, especially after he passed up on one of those Bone Splinters.
Yeah, definitely. So There, beyond that, a lot of the other green cards that you see in the pack are not cards that tend to go into this deck. You could have the Blood Hunter bat at some point, but I mean, if you're going to take a black card out of the pack, you don't not take the Grip Affliction to take a Blood Hunter bat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Dimir Guildmage. We can forget the blue mana costs right now, but at the same time, we've seen earlier, you could always get a Simic Growth Chamber or Dimir Aqueduct and power that out.
Yeah, now we see a lot of the artifacts gets passed around. There's a Frogman Court Homunculus, as well as a Cloud Elemental as a playable card, as well as Moonlit Strider, which you could actually even pick up and try to splash white, because he does have Waxmane Baku. Yeah. This could work well with his Thief of Hope and whatnot, but Dimir Guildmage is the right pick, I think, though.
Chooses to go with the powerful, versatile Guildmage. For him right now, it's going to be almost certainly cast for a black mana cost. We'll keep an eye out, see if he has an opportunity to pick up something that'll allow him to get that blue mana cost taken care of in the activated ability. Something I'm sure he'd love.
Yep. Ghastly Changing as well. Good card. Spirit, Changeling, you know, like all that comes with it. And while also being a solid creature on its own. It's not spectacular, but if you go long, there's worse thing to have than Ghastly Changing in your end play.
Certainly. And given the fact that he seemed reluctant. Ooh, a Scuttling Death. Looks like we might have a pretty reasonable black-green Spirit Sacrifice deck on our hands here.
Yeah, this one, Scuttling Death is great. Can return quite a few cards that he picked up already.
Yep.
The Thief of Hope or even Plague Rusalka. Ghastly Changeling can come back. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can pick up some other decent spirits. I think it's a good card overall. Funnily enough, some of these cards would get much better if they were played under the original rules with damage one on the stack.
Certainly.
But yeah, there's a Culling Days, and I think he should pick that one up.
Do you consider at least taking the Death Mark that's in the pack?
He already has one. I don't think he needs another one. It would be very good if his quarterfinal opponent was in green or white, which he's not. His opponent is almost mono red. But the Culling Days is actually a fine card in the black-green sacrifice archetype. You know what it does if you start going off with Necrogenesis? Now there's the pack. Golgari Rot Farm, Dredge Drone, and a Ghastly Changing. I think he's going to go with the Rot Farm. It would be great in his deck.
Yeah, it looks like he definitely wants to right here. He's got enough of the creature generators. Drone's not going to be that impactful. The Rot Farm is just something that's going to significantly smooth things out for him, right? One opportunity to get the Land Cycler out of this pack?
Yeah, well, I mean, do you see this pack? It's so good.
It's
Fiery Fall, Daggerclaw, and Otherworldly Journey. Lots of playables. He went with the Hate Draft there. Nothing particular there. Can pick another Culling Days here, but maybe Hate Draft the Flash Freeze. Yeah, that's what he does.
Good decision. All right, so Iyanaga has got a pretty solid deck, pretty solid sideboard. Based on the stuff that we've seen so far as we finish this last pack out, what are the cards that he's probably going to be looking for to fill this deck out and make it something that can win him this Grand Prix?
I'm surprised. Oh, yeah, okay. So he's picking the Moonlit Strider. So I think his deck can go a couple ways.
Sure.
He can maybe branch out into white if he opens some bomb in white, for example, or finds a payoff for some sort of spirit synergy as we go through his deck that he has. Also, I think something like Reassembling Skeleton would be really good in his deck.
Okay.
Because just to enable the sacrifice synergies with Plague Rusalka and the Bloodthorn Vampire that he has, this Devouring Greed just became so much better.
Yes.
Thanks to all the Changeling and Spirits he picked up. So that means that he wouldn't mind picking up some more.
Okay.
And removal would be always good. Nameless Inversion, I think, will be at the top of the list of cards he would like to pick up.
Okay.
Or more Thief of Hopes as well would be fine. And as you see, he's considering the white cards because he has the Waxmane back with the Moonlit Strider. So maybe just playing the Dimir Guildmage as a black 2/2, ignoring the blue ability, and try to pick up a bounce that includes white mana as well.
Okay, so we're looking for more spirits, possible removal spells, opportunities to splash white on the bounce lands. And possibly a bomb that can help him decide whether he wants to go into white or stay out of it.
Yep, exactly. I think he's still pretty flexible. Having a good black-green base helps. He can decide to play the white, not play the white, maybe add a splash of blue. That's good about all the green decks because they offer you some more mana fixing.
Certainly.
When you're green, sorry.
Yeah. All right, well, let's as he picks up this last pack, let's take a look through. See a Kozilek's Predator at the very beginning of it, an Evolving Wilds, Wolfbriar Elemental. You mentioned a bomb. This one isn't a white one, but it is certainly a great card to have in this black-green sacrifice deck. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's a 4-mana 4/4 on its own. It's very good. If you get enough green mana, you can just pump up wolf tokens, and you know what? You can make it even cheaper with if you sacrifice a couple of Eldrazi drones, to pay for the colorless. But Kozilek's Predator is on a very similar power level, just because it's just so good. Generates you 3 creatures at once. So I wouldn't be surprised if he picked the Predator, but I think he's going to go with the Wolfbriar Elemental.
Just the more powerful card objectively.
Yeah, it's just bigger on its own and has a bigger upside in the late game.
Sure. All right. Well,
yeah,
does in fact go with the Elemental. Passing those cards along, it's very unlikely that Predator's going to come back. We've seen that card. It's another one that's actually it's done great work over the course of the weekend. Would not expect to see that make it too far around the table.
Okay, Mortar Pod. Great payoff. Dimir Aqueduct in the pack as well, but Mortar Pod is great sacrifice. You know what this does with something in Necrogenesis?
Tell me.
It's like, I'll sacrifice one of my guys. I'll then exile it to make a 1/1 with Necrogenesis, equip it with Mortar Pod, shoot something again. It's just ridiculous. Like, the synergies are very strong in his deck, and I'm sure he would love that Dimir Aqueduct to wheel.
Glad you mentioned that. It was one of the things that I noticed and was going to bring up as soon as you were finished. So we'll see what can happen here. Couple of picks in, and he's already picked up a couple cards that are very, very good for his deck to help fill things out. We're still looking. We've got the bomb. We're still looking for some removal. We found another good synergy. So removal, cards to splash white, and some more spirits potentially.
Scuttling Death is one. Algae Gariel. Perfect. A bomb. Works so well with all his sacrifice outlets. This is the card that can win him many a game.
Okay. Algae Gariel gets larger, gets an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each time that a creature dies, similar to the way that Scavenging Drake does. But it's got a little bit more resilience when it comes to removal because it has the very powerful Shroud mechanic on it as well.
Yeah, so can't be targeted, and it can grow out of hand very quickly.
Very quickly in this deck. Comboing with that Mortar Pod, for example.
And with the Necrogenesis.
Sounds like we got a nice little loop.
Yeah, his deck seems sweet.
Awesome. I know that I would be very happy to pick this up. This is my favorite draft archetype by far, and this is a great representation of it so far.
Oh, another Nest Invader as well. He's going to be very happy about that one as well. Also, Tukathan Thaleg, as well as a Rootkin Ally, all cards that he could consider playable. He could also pick up a Sphere of the Suns just to improve his mana, but I think he's going to go with the Nest Invader. I'm also surprised there's a Thunderblast in the draft. I don't remember seeing it because I'm pretty sure his opposite member, Albert Budisanjaya, would have picked that one up. It's an elemental in a heavy red deck. Yeah, he would have loved that.
All right. Iyanaga deck is shaking up really well. At what point do you veer away from the white cards? Like, if he doesn't pick up any fixing, does he still consider playing those white cards that he's got sitting in his deck?
I don't think so. I mean, this spec, for example, is okay. Never mind. I want to say it's pretty empty, but there's a Vampire Outcast, which is a great card on its own. He could also pick up an Aquas Transpider. He could also pick up Azorius Chancery, which can enable the double splash in a way, like enable the white, while also giving him like incidental blue mana for Dimir Guildmage. But yeah, we are already starting with our top 8 here, so we're going to go straight to match as these last picks